What if, 60 years old and still single, isn't the end of the story? What if, at this point, your life is entering its most serene, deepest, and most meaningful chapter? Many people fear the word alone. But not all solitude is lonely. Not all silence is empty. Sometimes, silence is space. Space to breathe. Space to discover yourself. Space to grow. If you're 60 and living alone, maybe you're stronger than you realize. Maybe your heart is deeper than you think. Maybe your journey is more inspiring than you imagine. Imagine a tree standing alone in an open field. It's not weak. Its roots are deeper. Imagine a lighthouse by the sea. He stood alone, but his light guided many. And perhaps, without you realizing it, you are like that too. In this discussion, we will look at the surprising changes that occur when someone turns 60 and lives alone. Changes that aren't always talked about. Changes that aren't always visible. But changes that can bring new strength. It's not about fear. It's not about regret. It's about meaning. It's about wisdom. It's about the light that continues to shine. If you've ever asked yourself, does my life still have meaning? The answer is simple. Yes, it does. It does. It does. And perhaps, it's time for you to look at your journey in a new way. With pride. With peace. With hope. This journey isn't over yet. And the best part, it may be just beginning. Already 60, and still alone. The question is simple, but the answer can be profound. Have you ever sat alone in your living room in the afternoon? Sunlight slowly streaming in through the window, and you thought, my life is different from others, but is that a good thing? Or is it the opposite? By 60, many people are grandparents, or living with their long-term partners. But others are walking alone, either by choice, by circumstance, or because life simply takes a different path. And if you are among those walking alone, there are subtle changes growing within you, changes that are rarely talked about. Not because they are unimportant, but because not everyone experiences them. Today we will look at him together, calmly, with a warm heart. Without judgment, without intimidation, because every journey in life remains precious. Before we dive in, if you feel discussions like this are important for our senior friends around the world, please support this channel by hitting the subscribe and like buttons. With your support, we can continue to bring you heartfelt conversations, which may not always be discussed, but are much needed. Now, let's begin our journey today. Imagine a large tree standing alone on an open hill. There are no other trees beside it. There are no walls to protect it from the wind. Yet year after year, it keeps growing. Its roots penetrate deeper into the soil. Its trunk becomes sturdier. Its leaves still dance in the wind. That's what many people do when they reach 60 and have been living alone for a long time. You learn to fix small things yourself, make your own decisions, manage your own finances, take care of your own health, entertain yourself. Without realizing it, you're building a strength that not everyone possesses. Many people who live in a relationship feel panicked when they have to face things alone. But you're used to it. It's like having a long-trained life muscle. And this is the first change that's rarely discussed. I'm stronger than I thought. But, let's be honest, gently. Sometimes, from being independent for so long, you become so used to doing everything yourself, that you forget that accepting help isn't weakness. A strong tree still needs sun, it still needs rain. It still needs fertile soil. So to humans, independence is strength. But connection is the nourishment of the soul. And understanding this balance is the wisdom of 60. When we're young, time feels like a bullet train, full of schedules, full of responsibilities, full of noise. But after 60, and living alone, time feels different, quieter, wider, deeper. Imagine a quiet morning. You wake up without rushing. You open the window. Fresh air slowly flows in. Nothing is pressing. Nothing is ordering you around. Just you, and a new day. Some people call this loneliness. But for many seniors, it's a quiet freedom. You can read an old book. Listen to classical music or a nostalgic song. Take a leisurely walk without a specific destination. Enjoy a coffee without distraction. Life is no longer about speed. Life is about meaning. And here's the second surprising change. But healthy solitude is different from isolation. Solitude gives space to think. Isolation makes the heart feel distant from the world. That's why it's important to maintain small talk. Continue greeting neighbors. Continue smiling at people in the park. Continue talking to family or friends on the phone. Because humans, at any age, remain social creatures. Silence can be a space for meditation, but don't let it become a wall. Think of your life like the ocean. When you're young, the waves are big. Sometimes beautiful, sometimes chaotic. At 60, the ocean is calmer. That doesn't mean there aren't waves. They're still there. But you already know how to deal with it. Living alone for a long time teaches you one important thing. Emotions come and go, like waves, and you're no longer afraid of the small waves. That's emotional maturity. That's wisdom. You become fiercely independent. And you begin to have a deeper connection with time and solitude. If you're 60 and still single, it doesn't mean you're unlucky. Maybe you're just walking a different path. And that path is beautiful, too. In the next section, we'll discuss another, more heartfelt change. How being alone can affect your feelings, self-esteem, and how you see yourself. And how to turn it into a new source of strength. Because life at 60 isn't about who walks beside you. It's about how you walk. Slowly, calmly, with your head held high. Next, we'll talk about deeper changes, changes that aren't visible on the outside, but are felt strongly inside. When someone lives alone for a long time, reaching the age of 60, there's a question that sometimes arises quietly: am I worth it? This question doesn't always come out loud. Sometimes it comes at night. When the house feels quiet, when you look at old photos. But this is where the surprising changes happen. Living alone for a long time can help you know yourself better. More deeply than most people. Imagine a thick book. That book is your life. If you live surrounded by noise, sometimes you never really read the book. But when you live alone for a long time, you start to read the pages. You begin to understand your own story. You know your strengths. You know your old wounds. You know what makes you happy, and what no longer matters. And that is wisdom. But we also have to be honest. Sometimes society sets certain standards that a complete life must always be in a relationship. But the truth of life is much broader than that. Your worth is not determined by your relationship status. Your value is determined by the experience, compassion, kindness, and wisdom you possess. I am enough. I am whole. I am worthy. At 60, understanding this is a huge victory. Softer, or more introverted, this is perhaps the part that is least discussed. Living alone for a long time can make a person's heart very soft. Or very closed. Imagine the heart like a garden. If the garden is tended, watered, cleaned, and given light, it will bloom. But if left untouched, it can wither. People who live alone for a long time often learn to rely on themselves. That's good. But sometimes, without realizing it, they also build small walls around their hearts. Not because they don't want to love. Not because they don't care. But because they have become accustomed to protecting themselves. At 60, you have a wonderful choice. You can say, I've been through a lot. I'll still guard my heart, but I won't close it. Because love doesn't always mean a romantic partner. Love can mean new friendships, small communities, volunteering to help others, family, even self-love. A tender heart is not a sign of weakness. An open heart is a sign of courage. And courage at 60 is admirable. Imagine your life like a house. If all the windows are closed, the house feels safe, but dark. If all the windows are wide open, the wind can be too strong. Wisdom is to open the windows just enough for light to come in. Just enough for fresh air to flow in. but still keep the warmth inside. That's the balance you can choose now, at 60 and living alone. You have one thing that is truly precious, the opportunity to reshape your life. Without the pressure, without the unnecessary drama, without the noise of youth, you can choose meaningful activities. You can start a new hobby. You can learn something you've never tried. It's never too late to turn the page. Life isn't about who walks with you all the time. Life is about how you walk with yourself. And if you can make peace with yourself, you've already won something truly significant. The way you see yourself, and how your heart can become softer, or more closed. The question now is, what will you choose? Close yourself off because of the past, or open your heart to new wisdom? Next, we'll talk about the final change, a change that's often the most beautiful. If we've talked about independence, time, self-worth, and heart. Now we're moving on to something broader, about meaning, about legacy, about how your life impacts the world. Take a deep breath, because this part might touch your heart. At 60, life no longer feels like a race. You're no longer running to prove something. You're no longer comparing yourself to others as you once did. Instead, you start asking, what is the meaning of my life? What really matters? What do I want to leave behind? Imagine a candle in a dark room. When we're young, we're like fireworks, bright, fast, full of noise. At 60, we're like candles, a small, but steady, warm glow. Living alone for a long time often provides space for deeper reflection. Without many distractions, without much noise, and it's in that quiet space that meaning often emerges. You might begin to appreciate more, small acts of kindness, simple conversations, a child's smile, nature, memories. Life feels simpler, but more meaningful, and that's not loss. It's evolution. This is perhaps the least recognized. When someone turns 60 and still stands calmly alone, others see it. Maybe your child, maybe a nephew or niece, maybe a neighbor, maybe a friend. They see someone who hasn't given up. Someone who continues to stand tall, still living with dignity. Imagine a lighthouse on the seashore. The lighthouse stands alone, but its light guides many ships. You might feel like your life is ordinary, but your calm, your wisdom, your way of dealing with solitude, it becomes a light for others, without you even realizing it. And that's a truly beautiful legacy. A legacy isn't just about possessions. Legacy is about values, steadfastness, and example. Imagine your life like a long-tended garden. It may not be as vibrant as it once was. It may not be as colorful as it was in your youth. But the roots are strong, the soil is fertile, and the trees are mature. Such a garden bears sweet fruit, the fruit of wisdom, the fruit of patience, the fruit of understanding. Living alone at 60 doesn't mean the garden is empty. The garden is mature, and maturity is a different kind of beauty. Now let's look back on our journey. If you're 60 and still single, you may have become more independent. You may have a deeper relationship with time. You may know yourself better. You may have learned to guard your heart wisely. And you may have begun to discover a calmer meaning in life. Are all days easy? Of course not. Some days are quiet. Some nights feel long, but silence doesn't mean emptiness. Sometimes, silence is the space where the soul speaks. And if you listen gently, you'll discover that you're never truly empty. You're full of experiences, full of stories, full of light. If you're watching this today and thinking, I'm 60, and I'm alone, I want you to know something. You're not less. You're not too late. You're not a failure. You're entering a different chapter. And this chapter could be the most meaningful one yet. Turning 60 isn't the end. It's a phase of wisdom. And living alone doesn't mean living without love. Sometimes it means learning to love yourself more deeply. May you see yourself with softer eyes, with a more open heart, and with more confident steps, because your journey is still ongoing, and your light is still shining. What if I told you that your life right now, at 60 and perhaps walking alone, isn't a shortcoming, but rather a remarkable achievement? Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. You've lived through decades. You've seen the world change. You've experienced joy and sorrow. You've endured hardships. And you're still here. That's no small feat. Many people think happiness only comes when someone is always sitting next to us. But true happiness often comes when we can sit with ourselves and feel at peace. If you're living alone today, it doesn't mean you're behind. It means you've learned to stand on your own 2 feet. It means you've developed a quiet strength. It means you have the space to learn more about yourself. And perhaps, it's in that quiet space that you discover your most honest self. Age 60 isn't the end of the journey. It's like a warm autumn. The leaves are changing, the air feels cooler. But the beauty is profound. No more rushing. No more proving myself to the world. Just living, with awareness. If there's one thing I want to leave with you today, it's this. You are enough. You matter. And your life has value, with or without a partner. The world may not always speak of the strength of those who walk alone. But today we acknowledge it. And I want you to feel proud. Proud to have persevered. Proud to still have hope. Proud to still be willing to learn and listen. If this video touched your heart, please feel free to hit the like button. Share it with friends or family who might also need this message. Subscribe so we can continue sharing powerful conversations like this. Leave a comment about your experiences or feelings. I'd love to read them. And turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end. May your night be peaceful. May your heart be light. And may your steps forward be filled with peace. Because your journey is still beautiful.